and welcome to an episode of News and Improved. The Nintendo Direct has just come out, and I thought, why not talk about it? I've already watched it, and then I thought, why not talk about it? So we're not gonna watch the whole thing and give like a live reaction or anything. We're just kind of gonna go through the games, and I'll talk a little bit about them and what I'm feeling about them. Kind of give some news on them. I would definitely encourage you to go watch this yourself. I think it's always fun to be surprised, but having watched it, let's see what they have in store. So of course they give this notice about COVID, um, and then they start. Oh my gosh, it's a little loud for me. Hopefully it's not too loud for you. I'm just gonna turn it down to a point where, um, hopefully there's not that much audio playing. So this is just the new Smash character. I don't know who this is, and I don't really care. Yeah, that's just me. I think all the Smash characters that they're introducing, Smash was never a game for me that I necessarily was buying on my own and, you know, stuff like that. But I think, if you like the specific character, that's great. And I think if you like Smash, I think it's always great to have a new character and some reason to spice it up and get back into it because, the game's not like, there's a lot of replayability just because of how many characters there are. And if you're bored, this will add in some more flair, um, and give you a reason to get some people together and play it again. And so yeah, I think that's good. I'm just personally not interested, just because I don't even own the game personally. But when I play it with some friends, that's fine. They just talk about him for a while because he's big. People care about him. Um, where's the date for it? Yeah, there's the date. So that's not when it comes out. I guess that's when more information. I don't know. Um, then they talk about Life is Strange. I guess kind of a master collection though, more than anything. Um, I've never played a Life is Strange game, but I would be interested, especially with it on Switch, even though I could just get it on PC. So, um, you know, uh, I think if you're into the game, I don't know if you would want to replay it on Switch necessarily. It seems like, based off of my knowledge, a story-driven game, and maybe you like the story, but I don't know if I would ever replay it kind of thing. So, if you're into that, great. But if you've never played it, I think this is a great way to, on the Switch. Um, September 10th, so that's great. They talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy game. I hadn't heard of this. I don't know if this is a Switch exclusive though. I would assume not. Also, I'm a little surprised, like, yeah, is this gonna look this good? Like, this looks good. And no offense, Switch, but like, kind of doubt that it's gonna look this good on the Switch. But, hey, power to ya if it does. And then they talk about the Worms game. You know, I think a lot of people like the Worms game, and I think this is definitely interesting, kind of the real time of it. Um, but it's nothing major. It's just kind of a little game you can buy, play with some friends. Turn-based, yeah, there's definitely a lot of little games that, um, personally, I don't think I'm interested in, but if you're into that kind of thing, I think, um, why not give them a shot? Um, like this turn-based one, this university one, like, I mean, there's just, I don't know if they're indie, but they're little games, and I don't think I would ever buy them, but if they were on sale, maybe, or, it's definitely a specific kind of audience they're shooting for, so things like that. The Monkey Ball reboot, I mean, I I did play it, but honestly, just because I think my friend made me play a little bit of it when I was at their house like once. So I can't say that I'm interested in this concept of a game, but I think for the nostalgic factor, I think a lot of people are probably gonna like this. And it does look fun, it looks like there's a variety of things to do, so I'll give them credit there. They announced, and this disappointing, you can see it right here, 5 boards. So it's a remastered game, I guess, is the kind of way of saying it, but it's only, excuse me, sorry, I'm yawning. There's only 5 boards, which is, I thought we learned our lesson from this Super Mario Superstar, is that what it's called? Um, and that there wasn't enough boards, and I guess they got away with it because enough people bought the game. But here we are again with just 5 boards, and they're not even new. They're just remastered. I think I'm definitely disappointed. I think if you like this game as like a kid, maybe this is great. You know, it looks good. But from like a me perspective, I think my friend might buy it just because, you know, they like buying those party games, but why would I ever buy this? It's just old boards and you're not giving me anything new. Um, they look great, but looks aren't everything. I need gameplay, and this isn't. And then 100 minigames. And notice how they say over 100. Okay, well, if it was over 200, you would have said 200. So it's probably like 110 games. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like that's a lot, especially for when you're just remastering it. People have probably played these games. I think, why are you doing why are you doing this remastered of one of the games? We're at like Mario Party 12, right? So it's like, do a reboot of like the first 5 or something. Like this isn't like I'm just I think remastered's just kind of grind my gears sometimes. And this looks nice. It looks like they put a lot of graphical work into it. But I'm still just expecting a little more from a game this old and a little more content, especially in their Mario Party games. I just need a little more content. Maybe there'll be different game modes, but if it's remastered, I'm just a little worried. Um I think they'll sucker some people into buying it, and I really would prefer it if they put a little more work into these party games. But that's just me. Maybe I'm way off. Oh, this Metroid game. I mean, if you're into Metroid, maybe you're disappointed because it wasn't Metroid 4 like they had talked about and teased us with a long time ago. But if you know, the 2D Metroid games, I think are well done. I've never played one, but they seem well. I've heard some good things. So if you're into that, I mean, this definitely looks like, you know, another good one probably. It looks graphically good. It looks fun to play. So it's here. I guess check it out. But I think I can't help but I'm not a Metroid fan, but I can't help but think that maybe people were disappointed that it was just another 2D and not another 3D like they had teased a long time ago. When was Metroid 4? Metroid 4 um teased like 2 years ago, 3 years ago? I don't know. So yeah. So just another 2D Metroid. You can think what you will about that. And an amiibo. I mean, people like amiibo. So I'm sure that'll sell out as usual. They're bringing some over some Just Dance, of course. There's this racing game. They were like this classic racing arcade game, and I had never heard of this. But if you're into it, I mean, it's here on Nintendo Switch. This actually looked kind of interesting. You know, the cutscenes I didn't really understand. You know, I'm not a Dragon Balls fan. And I don't really know what you would do in this game, but honestly, the world just kind of looked like fun. Just because, like, how open it was, and he was just kind of flying through it, and I was like, yeah, like, this town, like, do I kind of want to fly around this world? Like, yeah. But I don't know anything about Dragon Balls, but yeah, it just kind of looks fun to fly around, so I'm not sure about this, actually. I'll have to wait. Um, Mario Golf Super Rush, it's what to expect. I'll try to restrain myself on comments on the Mario Golf as a whole, just because I'm not crazy about it. And it does seem like kind of another waste, but at the same time, it seems like they released, they didn't really release new information about it per se, I think. Um, it seemed like they just kind of wrapped up the modes again, you know, another kind of trailer getting people ready for when it releases, and then they announced free updates will be added, which is nice, but at the same time, I can't help but wonder, you know, why not just include that in the base game? So, um, free updates definitely kind of get me sometimes where it's like, why wasn't this just included? Especially in this game that I already think is going to be lacking, but the free updates are just maps and characters, they said. Monster Hunters. I've never played a Monster Hunter. I've kind of wanted to. I played a demo once, and it was way too hard. And I think that's just part of the learning curve of Monster Hunter. And that definitely turned me off to it, but I'd be interested to play one. But this is kind of a spin-off in that it's turn-based battling, I think they said. So take with you will with at that. If you're into Monster Hunter, this might be a letdown because this might not be what you're looking for, but I mean, at the same time, it looks like a good game.
You can play the free demo certain. Hey, what?
Wario,
It's finally ready
I
to
think,
control me.
I think
Time to do
people
this.
always talk about how it's kind of fun, but I can't help but wonder if there's enough
Go.
longevity. And I
Backwards.
think what they introduced here was this multiplayer.
Same time.
So the single player, I'm not really interested in, but this multiplayer, definitely a little interested in, just because I have heard good things about their little games, and with the like you can choose different characters, so Wario could be this other guy, and they all have their unique things. So I think there's definitely things there that would be interesting to try. So I don't know. I think I've never played a game, but this one is honestly tempting me just because of this kind of multiplayer and how they're doing these characters. But when you have a game with these micro games like this, I definitely worry about longevity. So that's my fear, absolutely. Um, I'm gonna breeze past these games that I don't know anything about, am I not interested in. This post-apocalyptic game they talked about. There was, um, yeah, this that I don't even know the name of. I don't know anything about. This horror game that we're breezing by. Doom Eternal update, I guess, or free. I don't know if it was free actually, but I guess campaign expansion bar one, yeah. Tony Hawk Pro Skate 1 and 2. It's, if you're into these things, that's great. Strange Brigade, another game I don't know. Mario Rabbids they had already released earlier. Um, I think the only thing that captured my attention was the use of Bowser, because I played the first one, and I don't really remember Bowser being in the first one. Maybe it was like I, it's been a while, but um, maybe he was a boss, maybe he wasn't. I don't quite remember to be honest. But the thing that got me was, the introduction of Rosalina, of course. And I wonder, will the real Rosalina be in it? Because usually they have the Mario and then the Mario Rabbid. So they have the Rosalina Rabbid, so where's Rosalina? So I wonder that. So we'll have to see. So I think the first one was kind of fun. I don't know if I'd be persuaded enough to buy it a second one and kind of do the whole thing again. But I think I'm also a little confused by this free movement thing, just because how do you do stuff with like distance and it looks like Peach is running back, so uh, I just don't quite understand how this free movement thing's gonna work, especially in this kind of strategic game about like position and like your chances of like cover and stuff. So I'm definitely a little confused about how this is exactly gonna work, but I guess we'll just have to see. Um, yeah, I forget what this game is called, but we played Wargroove on the channel, and that was fun. But I'm not looking for another one of these advanced wars. So if you're into that, if you were liked Wargroove, you might like this. But I'm not interested in playing it again. That kind of thing. Oh yeah, the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity expansion pass. I think it looked interesting. Just yeah, right from here with you controlling the Guardian, and then some other his weapons and stuff looked okay. It looked a little maybe watch the video yourself, but it looked a little I don't want to say laggy, but basically. So I definitely wonder like how it's gonna work in real time because I know when I played the first one of these games that it was sometimes it hiccuped. So what are you gonna do? But I think if you own the game and you own the expansion pass, this is exciting, but again, I didn't buy this game per se. I bought, the previous one, so I can't say that I'm necessarily interested in. I just don't really want to buy the base game and then buy an expansion pass as is. So I think that's just kind of tough. Where I'd like all this if this was in the base game. Maybe that would persuade me, but I'm definitely not interested in this expansion pass. That's not what I'm looking for. But who knows? And then, um, yeah, he talks a little about Skyward Sword. They've already done kind of their big thing on this, so there wasn't really any new information to me. They didn't talk about the amiibos. I thought that was interesting. But, um, looks like it's a remastered. It looks good. Um, part of me does want to buy it. Part of me does, here, let me, part of me does want to play it. I've never played it, and it does look fun. But part of me does not want to buy the $60 game. And that's where I'm kind of at. I think if you've already played it and you're nostalgic about it and you want to play it again, maybe that would get you. But for me, I just don't really want to spend the money on this game. That's just kind of how it is. But I'm sure enough people will buy it. And then he just talked about this mini thing, which was kind of odd because if you have like Nintendo Online, don't you have the original Zelda, I think. I don't think you have Link's Awakening, but I just thought that was kind of odd. It's like, okay, thanks for this thing. And then we can play it here at the end. They give a kind of teaser, I guess, for the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel. I don't think they name it, but
Show a bit more
we can
here.
check it out together
Please take a look.
now because I think this is definitely the big reveal. So this is definitely the thing that's more interesting and that I think people are gonna care about. This big game. The first one did so well, 10 out of 10s and things like that. So people are definitely gonna be interested in that. Um, and I'm definitely interested in that. I like the first game. I'm wondering what happened to Zelda? Is that just a cutscene or is she actually in trouble? I think I'm gonna pause it. I was definitely looking forward to in this one, maybe playing Zelda, just because in the first one they built up her whole arc so much about trying to be needed and blah blah blah, and I definitely thought like, oh, maybe she'll have a role in the second one, but I guess not. Because you'll see some gameplay here of Link. Initially, very interesting, of course, like, wow, we're flying through the sky, and you can see the worlds are floating, like, very interesting. Some new guardians. Very, like, of course, this is awesome, that they're on top of the stone guy. Some more powers, very interesting, very good. A flamethrower thing. Oh wow, he's going through the ground to climb. Like, very interesting, very good. But I think the obvious question is, are the floating bits just above the regular world? So is it the same world as before? First question. Um, are the floating bits like revealing more underneath? Or is it just kind of like a hole in the ground and you'll die if you go into it? Like, how does that work? Is it kind of two separate areas? So maybe things didn't rise up, but things just kind of came in and now they're floating, or and there's I don't want to say like a load screen in between, but something like that. It's Um, probably not though. I feel like the whole point is that it's open and everything and that you can get to things, but I don't know how you're gonna go from down here on land up to here. So, will there be a power or will it be just, you gotta jump to one and then you can jump to the other ones? Um, so a lot of questions for sure. I think my main kind of question is, what is the world gonna look like though? I think, there's gonna be new powers, there's gonna be new ways to traverse. They showed the going through the ground thing, but I definitely do wonder like, what's the world gonna be like? I think story, it's gonna be Ganon. Clearly we're playing as Link now again, so nothing too crazy. And here the world again. Like, this all looks new per se, but it's like, is the castle gonna be in the middle again, and you can like go battle whenever you want? And I think we all just have a lot of questions, and I think I'd love to get some answers, but um, not that Um, not that they're not giving enough at this point in time, just because I am very excited. And I think you'll see. Yeah, 2022, so they have some time. I don't blame them for not answering all the questions. They were just trying to get people excited, and I'm definitely excited. So, what more can you ask for? And that's all. So, I think overall, it was an okay Nintendo Direct. It doesn't feel like other years where it was very big. Um, And I'm definitely thinking like at other Nintendo Directs, or let me say E3 Nintendo things, there were kind of uh, the the big winter release games that they were playing at E3. You know, like Odyssey. You know, that was big and they were demoing that. But now it's like, okay, what was the big game one? And, you know, what are you demoing? Like, what's the winter release? Like, I know Pokemon's coming out. Are you just gonna demo that? Like, is that your winter release? Like, you're not gonna demo Zelda that's coming out 2022. So, it just seems like in terms of overall show, you know, that was a fine Nintendo Direct. It released a lot of games, or I guess talked about a lot of games, but are you gonna show anything off? Like, is anything big enough for that? Like, yeah, you know, does that make sense? Like, I'm just a little underwhelmed. Nothing's like, okay, like, we saw the trailer, but now I'd like to see more. Like, it doesn't seem like you have anything more to show me. And they go into the treehouse, and I think I saw some Metroid Prime and some Mario Party, and it's like, okay, like, that's not what I wanted to see. That wasn't, you know, neither of those were the big games, I feel like, but, so I just kind of feel like in that way, it was kind of a letdown, but what are you gonna do? I think at the end of the day, I don't know if I can chalk it up to the pandemic, just because of it's, you know, it's been a while. I would have thought they would have adjusted by now, but you know, I know the game industry is hard. So, but Nintendo has so much money. I don't know. So at the end of the day, I'm excited for some games, and I just look forward to more details. I think they tease some good stuff, but there's nothing more we can do than just kind of wait for more news, and that's where I'm at. I'm just excited for more news. So, anyway, that's just kind of my impressions on some of the Nintendo Direct stuff. As usual, just like, subscribe, check out our website, I feel like Productions, and I'll see you on the next one.